his picture.
Yeah, he's a psycho.
You know what's funny is Israel is the strongest and richest nation, yet it gets aid. Make that make sense.
Shalom.
Yeah, why do you need aid? Yeah, no. Why do you guys
If you're the richest, why do you need aid?
Yeah, tell us.
Why do you beg for money? Why do you beg for American support?
Look at the GDP. It's
Why do you bend over?
To feed a lion like that. Generally.
Why are you gay? I'm not talking to you.
That's why you beg.
I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to the lion, by the way. Not you, bro. Not you.
Chuchi.
Is it Mr.? Hi, guys. How are you?
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Good, how are you?
Not bad yourself?
Yeah. Listen, guys. Iran is very powerful, okay? Iran, this is Iran. Very long time is exist, okay? Very powerful.
Are you Iranian?
I am Iranian, yeah.
Good to hear from you. Good to hear from you.
I am Kurdish Iranian.
Oh,
Good to hear from
Original
you.
Iranian.
one of those warriors.
Iran is Iran, okay? Not joking. Iran is very powerful. Last years, Iran exists. Iran is powerful. Iran is empire. Not joking. Please, not joking in Iran. Iran is coming soon.
Not joking at all.
Powerful on all world, okay? Thank you very much.
Okay.
Palawan, Durud.
يا علي أحلى Hey, Ira.
ای ایران ای مرز پربار ای خاکت سرچشمه خونم. بله ایران هست. با ایران شوخی نکنید. ایران آهن است. ایران بوده هست و خواهد بود. اینو تمام جهان بشنون. با ایرانی ها شوخی نکنید. با دم شیر بازی نکنید که گازتون میگیره. لطفا ایران رو اذیت نکنید. ایران رو خشمگین نکنید. بگید بهشون انگلیسیتون خوبه بگید. با دم شیر بازی نکنید. شیر که بیدار شه زنده شه همه رو از بین میبره. ایران بوده هست و خواهد بود.
Mojib is saying don't play with the tail of the lion. Once you waken up the lion, but definitely not Elnormo's lion, it's going to...
Okay, can you translate for us what he said?
He's saying don't play with the tail of the lion. Because once you awake the lion, it's going to roar. But definitely this is not Elnormo's lion, guys.
Yeah.
If you play with Elnormo's lion, he'll do something else.
No comment.
No.
Now, what do you mean by that, Miss Surgeon?
Stop off.
Anyways, one of the mods, can you turn the chat off? We've got a rat infestation.
Who's that? He left.
Who that?
Has he gone?
Who that?
Yeah. He's been
The old
sad.
bastard.
He's been sad for the last couple of days.
He has. You know what they were wishing for the Iranian people? It didn't actually come to fruition.
Back, motherfucker. Leave, bro. We don't want you.
The sick lion is back.
We'll get rid of him. Give me 1 moment. One of the... Ami, are you there?
He said he walks you around like a puppy.
Oh, are you talking about this other dude?
No.
No, we don't visit your rooms. No, go.
Are you what? 1,000 people, Elnormo. Wow.
We are so impressed.
Real American.
Who told you we're Americans anyway? Like, stop these assumptions.
We're not Americans, bro. What the hell's your problem?
Hold on. What are real Americans? Elnormo.
That unemployed.
We're not Americans, my man. We're not.
That's real Americans for you.
You assume that all Palestinians are Americans, all Iranians live in Western countries, all Middle Easterns that speak English are not living in the Middle East. That's how stupid you are. Oh, so you're sitting with like 1,000 Native Americans? Is that what you're saying?
Freaking Americans is
They
America's
won't
a melting pot. What is a real American, El Normal?
I doubt that the natives wants to sit with you.
Exactly.
Unless they're natives, they're not real Americans.
They're
Go
probably
ahead, Sid.
Europeans.
Yeah.
European settlers, just like them.
I'm not, no, I'm from Poland, actually. Why are you inviting us to your room?
1,000 people.
Come to my room.
That's almost.
Why do you say that? Poland would not met you in? What the fuck does met you in mean?
Over 1,000, El Normal. That's very impressive.
Oh, why would you say that? I'm not you, and normal, they wouldn't let me in. Can you tell us what happened to the population there? It was like the biggest populations. What happened to them? Did you corrupt that land as well?
Can you mod us in your rules?
No. Are you ready to surrender?
What if you all like come with your line PTR El Normal in support of you? Would you mod us?
I agree. I think that's a beautiful idea. We should
I
do that.
think we should. The time has come, guys, to support Normie.
Yeah, nobody likes terrorists. We agree. Nobody likes Nazis too.
While you're in his room, sisters, pull the plug on his ventilator.
Oh. Why do you have to be so obvious, man, General?
I'm just
Who
giving
would
you
be-
instructions. I have to make sure.
I'm pretty sure, Norma, you're the ones who are going to be wearing it like in a week. Why don't they let you out though? Why are you guys running in boats, like fleeing in boats? Why are you being used as human shields, man? Just leave. If you want to leave, just leave.
Like, someone tell him that not everyone here is Arab, first of all. Like, get some I don't know, read a book, history, you know her.
He doesn't know how to read. That's the problem.
See, that's how you know that their problem.
He just runs his mouth all day.
Their problem is the Arabs and Muslims. That's what their problem is.
Oh well. They can't do anything about it.
You see that, yeah.
2 billion and counting. Come and stop us.
No, it's 6 billion.
6 billion?
Yeah.
You mean 6 million?
No.
10 million?
No, shut up, don't get me to say that shit. 6 million is a lucky number.
200?
You know, when I actually buy my lottery tickets, seriously, all jokes aside, my favorite number is number 6. Not because of 6 million, just because, 6. Hint, hint.
نرگس میشه ترجمه هم کنی همزمان اینا هم چی میگن لطفا؟
چطوری حالا؟
موجی میگن که ایران پیروز میشه و میگن که با ایران هستن اینا و هیچ وقت همیشه پشت ایران رو میکنن و بهترین کاری که ایران کرد همین کاری بود که کرد.
Very good, thanks.
I told
Yeah,
Moji
really,
about
ایران
your
is
support
powerful.
for ایران.
بگو ایران بسیار قویه و این کارو میکنه و نمیمونه اینا رو که بخوان پروازی در بیارن. ایران بوده، هست و خواهد بوده.
Moji was saying no one like El Normal can exist just trying to whatever be the way he is.
Yeah, he's dreaming about tearing Iran apart. But he's failed already.
Iran was, is, and will be. Mojib has repeated that a few times.
Of course.
So sad, but
he seems to forget who Iran is. They're the Persians.
Look at that.
And remember what the Persians did, El Normo?
We had an empire, El Normo.
Surrender.
Are you ready? Are you ready, El Normo? With your lion? With your little circus lion? I have been very inspired by El Normo's lion. Today I have decided to become vegan.
That's so cheap of you, Norm.
Slander. How about cashing your pay ticket, Pepe, and joining in the month? Okay, I'll join. Just joined. Yeah, no, I think you actually hold a very popular opinion. I'm far, when it comes to Iran, I'm extremely hawkish. I don't like war, but when you have a regime that all they do is sponsor terror, you got to do something about it. You just got to do something about it. So, I appreciate your opinion. In fact, if it was anybody other than Iran, I would probably agree with. Fair enough.
I think Trump was fooling them on that last meeting. He gave them 60 days. They hit him on day 61. And then he put out that thing on Truth Social saying that Israel had a lot of U.S. weapons. They knew how to use them, and they're going to get a lot more. So, I mean, I don't know what people thought, but Trump was asking for the regime to submit completely and give up their program so that they could dismantle it peacefully and safely from the inside, which the regime was never going to accept, but at least he tried. And Levin was upset because it seemed like they were going to allow the Islamic Republic to continue enrichment. But again, you'd have to be, I think they were Levin was kind of listening to the basically fake news coming from the fake opposition, saying that Trump was going to act weak and appease the regime. I don't think Trump ever had a plan to appease the regime. And him and J.D. Vance said that they didn't want American troops fighting other people's wars, but they would support the regional powers fully. So J.D. Vance said specifically they would support Israel, and he said that they would support the Europeans in Ukraine, but he just didn't want the tip of the spear to be American troops. I think they've been true to that.
Oh, did anybody see the 30 Pegasus and the Shadow tankers heading towards the Middle East?
Yeah. Crack tankers, you mean the flying gas stations?
Yep.
Yeah, KC-135. Or, no, KC-153.
Interestingly enough,
The 135Rs, yeah, KC-135Rs is Strato tankers, and the KC-46A Pegasus.
They've been flying in because they have to, like, once they go into certain areas, they have, so when it comes to turning on, like, their, I don't know if it's the transponder, I'm not really hip on this shit, but there's people who just, like, for whatever, I guess autism, that's the reason why they just, like, follow.
Oh, they're on Flight Radar. It's a
Flight Radar, yeah.
Website.
And so, we've seen, like, a lot of those. Obviously, you don't really see, for the most part, and I don't even know. I'm guessing, like, when they're operational, like on a mission, like I don't think they probably, you're not going to see them online. But we see that they're headed towards that direction of the world.
Unknown. Yeah, they landed in Spain. They landed in Ramstein, however you pronounce it.
Ramstein.
UK.
Yeah, I mean, and So Iran has ramped up their threats, and so they're saying that anybody who helps stop the attack or the rockets going towards Israel by shooting them down they're going to face consequences. And so the British basically said, okay, well, fuck you. We're just going to go ahead and move a bunch of our jets and tankers to Cyprus, really close to Israel. Yeah, I mean,
Also,
at this point, they're just saying, like, you can go fuck yourselves.
Also, a bunch of fighter jets left out of Diego Garcia a couple hours ago. Then the USS George H.W. Bush
as well.
Yeah, the USS George H.W. Just left out, I think, Virginia. And then the Vincent CSG is over by Diego Garcia. And there's a Nimitz class heading through the strait down there by, was it Malaysia or Indonesia?
Right.
Yeah, Malaysia.
The Straits of Malacca.
Yeah, it's heading down there right
So,
now.
so Rich, you say all that to say what? America's getting involved?
Yeah. There's
We're definitely getting involved.
There's also a WC-135. It's a nuke sniffer plane.
That was in
flies-
the Midwest and Northwest.
No, it left out of
the
Omaha.
United States.
Yeah, it left
Yeah,
out
but
of Omaha.
it only flew over our nuclear silos that exist
Wait.
in the Midwest and Northwest.
Let me ask Rich. Rich, listen, I know you're a nerd about all this shit. Are you saying that America's going to get directly involved?
I mean, there's 30 air tankers heading. There's a Nimitz class heading to that area. There's the George H.W. Herbert Walker Bush heading there. There's a nuke sniffer, which was the wing back and forth patterns, which is like test runs, testing for radioactive isotopes. But then they said that now it's heading east. So we'll find out where it's going to go. And there was a 2.6 magnitude earthquake 42 miles off of the nuclear facility in Iran that they don't know definitively. It was two earthquakes, like a 2.5 and a 2.6, but they don't know 100% if it was caused by like a nuclear test. So they do them like underground and shit. It causes seismic activity. So they might be going over there to sniff that out and see if there's any radioactive isotopes.
It's pretty safe to say that like the U.S. has already been involved. When it comes to the, so I don't know if it's Fordow. I forget the name of the mountain where it's about, I forget how many hundreds of meters it is underground.
It's a half a mile.
And so basically we have like a 30,000 pound bomb, which would need a bomber to drop it that Israel does not have.
Yeah,
we have it.
PGBU-28.
And so we would basically, which I think is going to happen. Just my opinion. I can't guarantee it, but when it comes to tankers and all that, I'm pretty sure we've been involved. I wouldn't be surprised if well, in fact, I know that there were both modern jets that were so the Gulf Arab states like Saudi Arabia, Jordan, they were involved with shooting down the projectiles heading towards Israel. And I'm pretty sure the British, they're not saying this out loud, but it seems like all of these countries from the West, as well as some of the Gulf Arab states, were involved when it came to shooting down rockets, basically.
Thank you.
JB.
Rich, let me ask you a question. What would Russia and China's response be if America gets directly involved, in your opinion?
I don't think they'll get involved as long as nobody's shooting ICBMs. But I mean, outside of that, if they're gonna go in a carpet bomb and hit some GBU-28s and like bunker busters and shit, the penetrators bombs, if they're gonna do that, I think they'll stay out of it. But I think they're gonna do the same thing that the United States did in Ukraine. Is just fund the war. So they'll just I know they sent like another 1,000, the Chinese did, ballistic missiles into Iran, or headed that way.
Did you see that on speaking of flight radar, you saw like the planes that were going, the transponders were going out, but they're transport planes flying when every other airline was not allowed to fly into Iran. There was like large.
Oh yeah, that's what Bill just put. Yeah, 2 planes landed in China.
I would guess that they're probably involved with this somewhat.
So if this WC 135 or 153, whatever it is, the nuke snifter, if it gets over there and it starts going back and forth, and it picks up radioactive isotopes, it's gonna get fucking nasty. They're gonna start fucking just bombing the United States is gonna step in at that point, because there's no way we're going to allow.
Nobody thinks Iran has like developed yet. They were like on the verge of.
Yeah, but what if the intel's off a little bit, or what if they?
I think that
what if they don't want to quell fear?
Sure, but I think that like what you're like. Okay, first of all, when we're talking about the Mossad, okay, these fuckers.
Well, they're not going to shoot the rockets from Iran anyways. They're going to shoot them from the Houthis.
Yeah, the Houthis.
The Houthis already had the Fatah 1 hypersonic.
Yeah, I've heard that. If you look at it, so what a lot of people are not understanding is that when it comes to what Israel was doing in Israel, in Iran, they were doing car bombings, they were assembling drones and then deploying the drones from within the fucking country and attacking specific targets. This is not like if anything, like the amount of intelligence and infiltration they have is actually like rather inspiring or shocking. Like these people, I would say Israel, they absolutely I think have a lot of intelligence that, for good reason, we have no idea what they know. So I think you're kind of underestimating them.
For them sending over 30 strata tankers and the Pegasus over there, and then also you have planes leaving out of Diego Garcia, which are predominantly B-52s and B-2 bombers, is concerning. And also the WC-153 or 135, whatever it is. I'm dyslexic.
I get it. I have issues with them dragging America into any other conflict, which is one of my biggest pet peeves with Israel. But with that being said, I don't see this being like a ground war. I don't see
No.
Okay, it's involving our Air Force. It's going to, there's going to be
if they
missiles and rockets lobbed from specific areas, whether it's from a ship or from an airplane. I really see this as the extent of our involvement. And of course, it's going to involve giving Israel more money and weapons. That's about it.
So if this WC-135 heads over there, he sniffs it out and finds radioactive isotopes leaking out from the ground. They're going to come in with those B-2s and B-52s, and they're going to drop those penetrator bombs on every underground facility. And that's why they're telling people to get the fuck out of Tehran, because it could potentially get real.
Where are they hiding? Where are these underground facilities in Tehran? And second of all, like they're doing it in the sides of fucking mountains, like where it's extremely hard to penetrate. Like they're not doing it in a major fucking city.
One thing I was going to mention is there's a lady who's like an expert on intercontinental ballistic missiles. She was on, can't remember the guy's name, but he's the guy that's a former Navy SEAL. And she was explaining that if North Korea were to get a nuke and they were just to send it to Guam, and that intercontinental ballistic missile made it to Guam and detonated, the United States automatic responses that they have set up is 82 nukes will hit North Korea. And at the very end of it, he asked her, he said, how many nukes would it take to take out North Korea? She said 82. So that's the point. Like, if they actually have a dirty bomb, I'm sorry, Shiraz. Sorry, the whole fucking rest of the country.
No, that's not. No, that's not quite how it works. Okay, so when you're dealing with a situation in which nukes were already launched, okay, I believe it is 6 minutes, depending on which country. And so you have basically pre-programmed, like a protocol. You have a protocol for which, okay, we detected that Russia has launched these nukes or China has launched these nukes, and then you end up within 6 minutes, the president has to say, like, yep, go ahead, send it. And they're literally the amount of nukes is going to depend on the country, but they don't have time to think this out. It's something.
Yeah, that's why they're pre-categorized. Like for North Korea's 82 nukes.
Yes.
That obliterates the entire country. There's nobody left.
Sure.
Except for underground people.
Sure. But with the Iran, I mean, I haven't heard anything. Of course, I don't work in intelligence. I don't have access to any information, but I have not heard anybody say that they've already acquired nuclear capability from the Israelis, the U.S., anybody.
For Iran?
Yeah, no, I haven't.
They were estimated within the next 6 to 12 months to have.
Yes, in other words, they're about to. Yeah, about.
Yeah, but what if those numbers are off? What if they actually do have some refined uranium to 60%?
Oh my god, this is so fucking retarded. The Israelis are like have penetrated them so deep in their fucking rectum that they know when every one of them are fucking farting and shitting and at what time of day. Like it's just this is stupid.
No, they evacuated Tehran because Iran is trying to move their missile batteries inside the city. They want the people to get hit and use the people as a shield. So Trump did a good thing. As far as the difficulty that Israel has is that they're far away, and refueling slows down their process, and the more successful Iran is, the worse it's going to be for them. Iran, by Iran, I mean the Islamic Republic. So Trump is actually helping everyone, honestly. He's allowing Israel to speed up what they're doing and speed up the whole process by helping them refuel. I think it's a win-win. Hell, it'll help the regime lose quicker, which is another way.
No, I get that, but I'm guessing you're of Persian descent.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have been hearing the reports. I guess there were a couple of prisons that I don't know whether it was through projectiles, car bombs. I don't know what it was, but that were damaged. That were known for having dissenters, basically political prisoners, to be detained, and they've gotten out. I saw, which I actually thought was a very beautiful attack. I really appreciated this because when they bombed the state-run television, and it happened on air, I know that they're telling Iranians that they cannot share foreign media posts about what is happening, otherwise they'll go to jail. So they've kind of shut off the access to the internet to the outside world. But when they have their state-run TV, and all of a sudden this woman is speaking, and all of a sudden it's like kaboom. Where the Iranian people they're that's obviously it's going to spread. I feel like they are, in my opinion, I could be wrong, but I do think that this is heavily pushing for regime change, and they want the population to revolt, which I do think the Persian people are beautiful people that are very oppressed, horribly oppressed by these people. Do you think that I'm wrong there, or?
No, of course you're right, and this has been the plan the whole time. And when they hit the television, it was a great show that the regime's propaganda is bullshit, and that helps the psychological warfare of basically harming your enemy and giving energy to the resistance. And there are people who support the regime who have been listening to all these lies. Even people who are against the regime are afraid, or thought, the West won't do anything because Iran has so much power and stuff. So this helps crumble all that. So I think it was a brilliant move, and it is about I don't know, regime change. It's revenge for all the things that the Islamic republic has done. And that's one thing that they haven't talked about publicly. Like Trump said it when he signed the executive order. He wrote it in there that they were responsible for October 7th. He said things are going to happen in Iran and all you guys are going to be watching. But, you know, he's been very diplomatic to trick the regime in a way to keep their guard down. And they set up that 5th or 6th meeting for the Sunday, and they caught everyone off guard. They had all these people who were sleeping in their homes, all these regime people. So, I mean, Trump is a genius, and you know, so with a few degrees of separation in our opinions, I think I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying.
So I just want to ask one last question. So I don't want to hog the mic, but I do know that they've hung people just for protesting. If you have any kind of influence, they're going to make an example out of you. They're going to hang you. But I have heard from Persian Americans, which I honestly have not looked this up. Is it true? And I know they detain you, but is it true that they actually rape? The IRGC rapes people and rapes family members? That sounds so bizarre and extreme, but I have no way of knowing.
They will torture your family members right in front of you. So, they'll rape your sister, they'll rape your kids, one story was they took a guy's leg, his foot, and turned it all the way around in front of his family. What they would do, young girls who were, teenagers who had joined certain, revolutionary, after the revolution, there were different groups, and they would round these girls up. They'd round everybody up, but they'd separate the girls. And then, based on their belief in certain Islamic law, if a virgin dies, they go to heaven. So they would rape all the girls, and then they would hang them, so they go to hell. In a recent protest, they used rubber bullets and, took out hundreds of people's eyes. They would rape people and throw them off roofs. These people are evil. And so everything Trump and Bibi are doing, I fully support, and a lot of other people support. Unfortunately, even for people who are against the regime, there is a lot of propaganda and psychological warfare where they think, oh, Trump is going to appease them, or Israel's going to attack and kill people indiscriminately. And so there's a lot of that sort of fear. And so we have to help them out and let them know that no, these people aren't going to be abandoned. There's a short-term and long-term plan. Israel's not going to go after innocent people. They're not trying to destroy the country as a whole. What Trump is doing, which is obvious, what Bibi is doing, which is obvious. I mean, Bibi's like, I'm Trump's right-hand man, so they're doing it together. And people are like, oh, Bibi sabotaged Trump's plans for an agreement, and he should punish Bibi and all this bullshit. Like, Trump was, what did he do? So they are taking out all the leadership and the surrounding people, and they're hitting a lot of the facilities, including their CIA facility, not CIA, but their own Ministry of Intelligence and Cybersecurity. So all these buildings will be used, if there's a revolution, will be used to spy on the people, to identify people, to locate them. So they're hitting all these facilities that house technology and devices for cyber surveillance and to kill the people. So once they take care of the nuclear issue and minimize the missiles they have available, take care of the other shit, all the people on the inside who have been helping Israel are going to turn their focus into helping the people overthrow the regime. and that involves, you know, people gather in a square or march, you know, and so they're going to have regime people, you know, use 50 calibers and snipers to like mow people down. So now, ideally, you would have a group of clandestine commandos or something shooting back at those evil people, or using their drones to, like, when they gather to attack the people in their offices or in their in the police yard or whatever. If those guys can be taken out, then the people will win. And so, man, there's a lot of stuff going on, and yeah, hopefully it'll all work out really well. And then there's an opposition who will come in and be an interim government and move on from there.
Well, Godspeed. I hope your people, you know, regain their freedom.
Thank you, and we appreciate that. And so I've been watching. I was talking to other people. There's, you know, we have a fake opposition in the West. They, you know, previously infiltrated the Democrats. Right, I saw the guy Scott Horton, who's head of that libertarian group.
Oh, yeah. Hold on. Let me tell you about Scott Horton. So Scott Horton is the reason I left the Libertarian Party. Scott Horton positions himself as being anti-war. He's just anti-West. He hates the U.S. He hates Israel. He hates NATO. He's a total fucking piece of shit. And Dave Smith, who's actually a fairly intelligent guy, lousy comedian, he got so enamored because Scott Horton had the libertarians under his spell that he just started reciting everything that Scott Horton would say. And so now Dave Smith, even though he holds a lot of really, you know, good positions when it comes to economics and other issues, he's just completely compromised. And so the Libertarian Party in general is compromised. So go ahead, though. Tell me more about your thoughts on.
Yeah, so there's the fake opposition. There's a group that was, you know, they got caught in court. They tried to sue the people who were saying that they were fake opposition, but for defamation. And in the court, in the guy's defense, the guy who was basically defending himself from the defamation from this fake lobby group, he basically exposed them indirectly as actually being a lobby group. So they kind of fucked themselves by actually bringing the defamation case. And so this group met with Obama dozens of times and would basically support the regime sort of narrative. Don't sanction us. It's okay. Just have trade. And if we have trade and the people become more prosperous, then that will lead to freedom. You know, like China, like Russia. So all that bullshit that the Democrats were running. Well, Scott Horton the other day was debating an Iranian Israeli guy, and swear to God, he said that the leader of this fake lobby group said that was his good friend. He said, Trita Parsi, my very good friend, and basically used that asshole's book as a reference in his debate with this guy. Scott Horton and exposed himself as, you know, being a mouthpiece for our enemy. So when I was talking about fake opposition and stuff, that's what I'm talking about. These guys are infiltrating the right and wearing the colors of America First, but they're just appeasing our enemies. So I'm glad you guys have seen this stuff too. There's a guy on X, James Lindsay or whatever. He's kind of figured it out, and I really appreciate Laura Loomer. She's kind of figured it out and stuff. So really cool.
Laura Loomer's a lunatic, but she happens to be right on a few things. Yeah, she's a fucking lunatic. Sorry.
I mean, I think James Lindsay is a little like over the top, but I get, you know, there is what's really disgusted me about I would consider myself right wing. I'm not a conservative, but the amount of people that were like pro Russia, the amount of I just see a lot of, and I can't help but think a lot of this is you have a lot of paid actors that are trying to influence the right to believe that it's not just Israel, but anything that would have been traditionally considered the best interest of the Westerners, like the Ukraine war, they just attack us, and I don't know. It's really weird how information is being disseminated now, and most people are getting their information online as opposed to traditional media, as opposed to a decade ago. Which I don't even know how this plays out. It's a fascinating experiment.
I agree with you. Did you? It's fake opposition, man. They're infiltrating, and my friends who were, MAGA and stuff, and they're luckily the QAnon website had actually outlined the whole Islamic Republic's fake lobby group. So he knew about that. And one day I was like, oh, look, your guy Scott Horton is quoting that guy who is the Islamic Republic's lobby group in the U.S. See, I told you. I said it was really telling when they started supporting Putin and stuff and saying he had a right to take Ukraine. I mean, the Russians have took a lot of land from Iran. They had they had political parties. After World War II, they tried to take northern Iran. So we know. Oh, and Putin is was buddy with the Ayatollahs. So when my American, right-wing MAGA friends were like, "Oh, Putin is this and that," and I was like, "Dude, he's not any of those things. He's a piece of shit." And if anything, he was using the globalists. He was bribing all those fuckers through Burisma, and that was all. That money was between Putin, Ukraine, and the Democrats, and they were all against Trump. So I don't understand how I do understand. They try to twist it and say, "Oh, it's Ukraine," but it was Ukraine by way of Putin. It was Putin by way of Ukraine to the Democrats. So I fuck all these.
And that's interesting. So I would talk to Richard Spencer quite a bit, and then it's he's come out more and more about this. Since the start of the war, he's been pro-Ukraine, but to make matters clear, he was married to a Russian woman, and he said, as weird as this is, out of spite of his ex-wife, he was not really pro-Russia, but he's kind of opened up quite a bit about how the Russians were definitely funding the people on the dissident right, and those a lot of the people even today, and he's been calling this out more recently, the people that are taking positions that we think are rather foreign to our belief system. And it is, and to be fair, it seems to be somewhat of an effective strategy, because you are seeing so many people today that are quote unquote right wing, that have these extreme positions where they would have been considered pro-communist 30 years ago. But if you look into it, I mean, it's not a secret on, when it comes to dissident right-wingers, that there is so much foreign influence that is malevolent, I guess you can say, and people fall for it. But I think when you give these influencers that, I guess you could say, a good chunk of money, they're willing to say whatever, and they do it in lockstep. And
like Tim Pool taking money from RT.
Yes, I think he's a great example, and I do think that like a lot of people. Here's the one thing I'm like rather like libertarian when it comes to my values. Like I don't care about like what you do in your private life and all of that stuff. But where the fuck was I going with this? When it comes to
You say you don't want black people to move into your neighborhood.
no, I didn't say that. But anyways, it's
I think a more likely scenario would be him moving out of his neighborhood to be around people he prefers.
yeah.
I
forget my point.
I hear what you're saying, and what I'm realizing is that we need to. It kind of got to the point where we're like, fuck everybody. We're not going to reach across the aisle. All of the Democrats or whatever, they're all pieces of shit. And now it's like if something happens where the right is being manipulated and doing extreme things, and listening to these guys like Scott Horton and stuff, we will need to reach across the aisle, because those guys will actually sabotage us, which is their goal. And Tim Pool was being sabotaged. They didn't ask him to change his content, but a few weeks before the election, all of a sudden it was exposed, and then the left-wing media was like, look, Trump supporters are getting money from Russia and all this stuff. Like that mistake on their part basically resurrected the whole Russian collusion thing, and it was a huge, it could have been a huge blow. So that was suspicious. I think they paid those guys, and then they self-snitched so that they could have that bad press and stuff. And the Lauren Chen, I was saying it earlier, Lauren Chen and all those people were not supporting Trump. They were sabotaging Trump. So yeah, we gotta. I think the lesson is that we need to reach out across the aisle and find more allies and be more proactive.
Well, the other thing that I would caution you is believing that people like Scott Horton have a loud voice. He influences a party that can get somewhere between 0.5% to 3% in a national election. So and he's got influence over maybe 60% of those folks, and so. He's not the boogeyman that we have to worry about. He's definitely a fucking piece of shit, but he just doesn't have the power. What we have to worry about is if that messaging crosses over into people that actually have charisma or get platformed in a way where that messaging could grow. I definitely think that there's some subversive elements that we have to keep an eye on, but I wouldn't give guys like Scott Horton more credit than they did.
Agreed.
Can we all agree that this is a wonderful development? That the fact that the IRGC's days are numbered, that this is a great development for all of humankind. Like, is anybody in disagreement with that?
No, I agree.
I disagree.
Okay, great. Okay, look. Everyone, stay on mute. Let's hear the disagreeable position. This is what happens when you enter the muff. You're free to speak your mind in the muff. So go ahead, Wayfan. Tell us what you did.
So I really want to take as a step back, and I hope that in the muff we can have the courage to listen to this. So as an ex-Iranian, we have to see why this whole situation started in the first place. The father of this Prince of Iran, which is planned to be the next freedom for Iranian people, was a dictator which killed so many people. And there was a revolution against him. And Carter was the one, President Carter in the United States, which is one of the most liberal presidents in US history, supported that revolution. So up to that time, American people were so much in favor of that revolution. what happened is that this guy, this dictator, this pussy, ran away and came to United States and hid it in United States. And
I believe he went to Canada.
No, he came to United States first, Pepe. And please let me finish, land my point, because this is very sensitive. And at that time, Iranian historically were suspicious of US because of what happened like in the civil right, a civil movement which happened 20, 30 years before, and CIA overthrown the government in Iran. So they were very suspicious. And they take hostages the US embassy and requested the return of this pussy, which if he hadn't ran away, if he had stayed and faced the consequences of his action, none